Come on. Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
All right. Once again, we are on. He is the great Mike Steph. I am the Mojo King. This is Hidden Gems Football, brought to you by the 19 Media Group. Mike Steph, how are you doing today?
I'm doing much better since I actually have my trusty background back. Yeah, I hope y'all could see me this week because I know y'all probably couldn't see me next week, and y'all are just so polite by not putting in the comments of Mo. I didn't know you were doing a solo show, so everything was good. Yeah, and getting ready for the holidays, getting ready for Christmas, ready to do these 5 games. They got to start adding in Saturdays.
Well, just wait till next week, because next week you're going to see some NFL in days you've never seen before. All right. Let's talk Thursday night football. The Denver Broncos are 9-5, and they're heading to LA to face the Chargers, who are 8-6. The projected total is 42.5 points, while the Chargers are 3-point favorites. That means Vegas is telling us that they think the Broncos will score 19 3/4 and the Chargers will score 22 3/4. As far as injuries, the Broncos have Jaleel McLaughlin. He's questionable. He came out of last week, and we'll see if he's going to be able to play this next week. Meanwhile, on the Chargers side, they have 2 key ones, although I'm not sure if they will keep either of these players out. But Justin Herbert has an ankle injury, as did Quentin Johnson. Mike Steph, what do you think about this game? A couple of playoff contenders here. Who you got?
If you would have asked me a couple weeks ago, especially a couple weeks ago, that one of these teams would be 9-5 and the other one would be 8-6, it would not be the order that it is, because Chargers were riding high, and Broncos, they were scuttling by. They was above 500, but for the Broncos to be 9-5 and pretty much control their own fate, and the Chargers to be struggling a lot due to injuries, is very surprising. But I'll start with the Broncos first. The Broncos, Bo Nix, this past week, he mustered only 130 yards passing on 37 dropbacks. And for the first time in his career, he had a 3-turnover game in a 31-13 victory over the Colts. He's turned the ball over 5 times in his last 73 dropbacks after throwing just 2 picks over 10 games, 366 dropbacks before that. The Broncos have regularly proven that they don't need him to carry the whole load in order to win games, and proof positive, he had a 3-turnover game, and pretty much they blew the Colts out, even though it was kind of helped by another asinine mistake by someone that's going in to score and dropping the ball before they go over the goal line, and that effectively turned that game, because it would have been 21-7 Colts, and then the Colts never scored again. Now, the challenge to me for Nix and the offense is to get back on rhythm quickly, but without pressing, as the club tries to clinch its first postseason berth since 2015. Now, the Broncos have to fight off the Cincinnati Bengals, which are 6-8 and still playing for a playoff berth, and they end the season with a trip to Kansas City, although the Chiefs might be able to sit starters out in that season finale if the number 1 seed is secured. Now, going over to the Chargers, this game this past Sunday against the Bucs got away. The Chargers are in the process of picking up the pieces after a 40-17 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Chargers will try to ensure that their season doesn't flip and slip away this coming Thursday. Now, they actually still have the upper hand for the 6th seed. The Chargers, who beat the Broncos in Week 6 for their first win in Denver since 2018, slipped into the 7th spot after giving up a season-high 40 points and 506 yards of total offense to the Buccaneers. Now, after this Thursday's primetime game, the Chargers finished with New England and the Las Vegas Raiders. Both teams have been eliminated from playoff contention. So if they can get this victory this Thursday night, it puts them in pristine condition to solidify that 6th seed. Now, according to the Bleacher Report, I quote, over the past month, Los Angeles has allowed at least 27 points to 3 teams with top 6 scoring offenses: the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coming into week 15, the Chargers gave up the fewest points, but those numbers may be misleading and skewed due to the competition that they faced through the first 3 quarters of the season. The Chargers did come into this game allowing a league best 15.9 points per game. And of course, Tampa Bay nearly tripled that average by dropping 40 on their once stellar defense. So getting to the nuts and bolts, I really feel that Denver has the momentum. I never thought in my life I would really be counting on a Bo Nix led, Sean Payton led team to actually glide into the playoffs. But Denver needs this game, the Raiders, especially with the teams that are coming up on their schedule. So I think Denver is going to win outright. So I guess Denver plus the three over under, because it's supposed to be a defensive battle, under.
Couple quick points here for me. The Chargers have lost 3 of their last 4. The key is that the player that got injured in the first of that last 4 games, and that's J.K. Dobbins. This team has not been the same since. He's a little bit more explosive in the run game. The run game is what really catapults this team further. Meanwhile, the Broncos have won 4 straight games. It was interesting to note that they were against non-playoff teams, assuming Atlanta doesn't make it. Interesting stat for you, Mike Steph. The Denver Broncos versus playoff teams are 1-4. Versus non-playoff teams are 8-1. So while we recognize that the Chargers have basically beat up on the weaker teams in the league, the Broncos have done the same exact thing. The question is, are the Chargers, as they are constituted right now without J.K. Dobbins, do I consider them one of the playoff teams, or do I consider them a lesser team, even if they do make the playoffs? And right now, I consider them lesser. So I am going to Broncos. The Chargers are 3-point favorites, so that makes it pretty easy for me. The Broncos +3. I think the Broncos are going to actually win this outright. You pointed out the stat about how much the Chargers have given up as far as points lately. I think that's going to continue to make the game a little bit higher. So I'm going to go over.
I'm Desmond Powell, host and creator of Hip to the Games, and I am incredibly grateful to announce that the show has been nominated by podcast professionals from some of the biggest networks in the industry for the chance to be named Sports Podcast Group's Best Basketball Podcast. While Hip to the Games merges the love of basketball and hip-hop, it's an honor to know that one side of the spectrum has received this kind of love. And as a fan of the show, this is a very easy way for you to show your support for Hip to the Games. You can cast your vote by visiting sportspodcastgroup.com, navigating to their drop-down menu, and clicking the awards tab to view the 2025 shortlist. There, you'll see the Best Basketball Podcast icon, where you'll scroll down and find Hip to the Games, where you can hit the like button to officially lock in your vote. Regardless of the outcome, Hip to the Games will always be about celebrating the brilliance of basketball and hip-hop's past and present. So make sure to get your votes in before January 13th, as you remain such an important part of this podcast growth. I sincerely thank you for all your support.
Let's shift over to Survivor. Last week, like multiple weeks in a row now, all the favorites won. Literally, the biggest team to eliminate players was players that took the 49ers. They eliminated about 1% of the population, so not much change here. Everybody, we have 3 more weeks, and then it's payday. I need some of these favorites to lose, though, so some of these competitors could get out of here so I can increase my possible winnings here. Mike Steph, I'm going to go through the biggest spreads. You tell me if you like any of these games. If not, and you want to go off the board, by all means. On Saturday, Baltimore is at home, and they're 6-point favorites over Pittsburgh. The Falcons are at home, 10-point favorites over the Giants. The Bengals are at home, 7-point favorites over the Cleveland Browns. The Detroit Lions are heading to Chicago. They are 6.5-point favorites. And in these 2 huge spreads, the Bills are at home. The Patriots coming to visit them. The Bills are 14-point favorites. And the Green Bay Packers are at home. They're facing the New Orleans Saints. And the Packers are 13.5-point favorites. Mike Steph, do you like any of these games, or are you going off the board?
Spread-wise, I would have a couple thoughts, but we're not talking spreads. Because some of those large spreads, I could very easily, like just for at the top of my head, I could see Giants covering because Atlanta's not beating the Giants by 10 points. I'm sorry, not from what I've seen, and this has no shade to it, Mr. Low Fat Beats. But if it is implied, so be it. But yeah, I don't see that. But as for a straight up upset, here's one that's a little bit off the grid. The Arizona Cardinals, they're favored by 4 points, at least the spread that I have over the Carolina Panthers. But the game is on the road. The game is at Carolina. That means it's a 1 o'clock start across the country. Cardinals, yeah, they won last week, but was it an impressive fashion? Not really. And I could see the Panthers' record really belie how improved they've been. So I can see that being an upset. And how long this streak of all the favorites are going to win. So I'll give that one my hidden gem pick of the week. Panthers over the Cardinals.
All right. This is one of those weeks that I hope you have one of these big favorites because it's pretty much a walk in the park, or at least it should be. I am hoping for an upset somewhere. The Packers should beat the Saints. We don't even know who their quarterback's going to be. The Bills are a juggernaut right now. They should be able to beat the Patriots, even if not by 2 touchdowns. It's fine. Just need to win. I'm with you on that Atlanta Giants game. I do not like that spread at all. Nothing that Atlanta's shown in the last 3 weeks show that they should beat anybody by 10 points. At the same time, the Giants shouldn't beat anybody, so Atlanta should make it. And actually, at least in one of my teams, I think I am going to end up using the Falcons. I will say this, though. I don't think I like that Baltimore game at all. I don't think I would take Baltimore. If you've been holding them this long, why would you want to now decide to play them against the Steelers?
This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
I'm going to actually use my shirt as a prop. You see all these different expressions? Grr, upset. Shut up. Oh, poopsies. So I think that one, being the fact we were kind of on the same accord, I guess that'll be. Oh, yeah, that'll be this one. Grr. Because you're going against me on the over-under. Nah.